Hi, this is Sarah with Posh Pooch Designs, and today is our first free pattern for our Christmas in July. And our first pattern, after asking lots and lots of people and wondering what they request, they asked for this one. And if you don't know what this is our dog poop Christmas ornament. And how this came about is my grandkids were visiting at Christmas, and we were in the front yard. I gave them each a bag to put on their hand and a bag to put the poo in, because you know, those of you who follow me, that I have 2 chihuahuas. And we were picking up all the dog poo in the front yard. Well, my son-in-law said, "You ought to make a Christmas ornament. That would be hilarious, the Chihuahua dog poo ornament." Well, I just called it the dog poo ornament. It's a lot of fun. And I've had a lot of dog rescues use these for fundraisers. And I've sold a bunch of these. People ask me to make them for them. I usually do them in sets of 3. So anyway, that's what we're going to make today. What you're going to need, we move him aside. Let's get our yarns out here. What you're going to need is you're going to need just a little bit, just maybe 2 yards of a fuzzy type yarn to use for the pom-pom and for the trim. And this is Red Heart fuzzy yarn. All of a sudden, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Pipsqueak in white. And then you're going to need a little bit of red and green sparkle. The green you just need about 2 yards, because we're just using it for the top of the hat, make the tie, and to make the bow here. Okay. Now the red is what we're going to start with and make the hat on the top of the dog poo. I can hardly say it without laughing. It's so silly, but it really has been a really good pattern. If I can find the end, there it is. So this is, you can use Red Heart Sparkle Christmas yarn, or you can use Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn, has a nice red sparkle also for the green and red. And then you're just going to need some brown worsted weight. Any shade you want to do is fine. And these are all worsted weight yarns, the red and the green and the brown. Worsted weight number 4 works great. Now you can use any yarn you want. You can use a chunky, it just makes a bigger one, you know. So, and that's how that works. You're also going to need a little bit of polyester stuffing. And I like this kind, that's because it takes very little and it's just polyester and it stuffs real nice. And then you're going to also need a yarn needle, because we're going to be embroidering on eyes and weaving in ends and things like that. And today we're going to be using a G-hook. Here's my G-hook. Because I think it works best for this project. And then, of course, you're going to need a pair of scissors. All right, well, let's get started. Now, this is a free pattern on my blog, and I'll put that, of course, in the comments like I always do for my free patterns. All right, now, to get started, we're going to be starting at the top of the dog poop. I laugh every time I say that. We're going to be starting up here and working in rounds and working down. All right, so to begin with, we're going to chain 3. One, 2, 3. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3, 4, and 5 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. And then we're going to be working in rounds, so it's a good idea, if you have one, to use a stitch marker. If you do not have one, all you have to do is clip off another piece of yarn of another color. For instance, we're not going to be using green right now, so just clip off a piece of yarn like this. And this helps us count our rounds. And what I do is I just lay that in there. And then we'll start round 2. In round 2, we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first single crochet, 2 single crochets in the next one. So there's 1, 2, then we're going to repeat that. 1, 1, 2 in the next, and then we're going to put 1 single crochet. Let me make sure. Yes, 1 single crochet in the last single crochet, because this row we have a total of 7. Okay, pull that in a little bit, and now we're back at the beginning, so we're going to just wrap that green piece of yarn right back up there. And what this will do is it'll mark our row each time. So now we're going to be in row 3. So we're going to, in row 3, we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, okay, 1, 2, and then 1 single crochet in that last stitch, and this gives us a total of 10 stitches. Now the way this looks, it looks a little bunchy, but it's just the way it looks until we get started. Now those were our increase rows. From here on out we're going to have 10 stitches around, so we won't be doing any more increases. So we're going to go right in that next stitch and stitch 1 single crochet in each stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, just take your piece of yarn and loop it over, and that just helps us mark our rounds so we know. And you can see it just kind of hangs in there, and it's okay because that'll just slide right out when we're done, and as we work you can slide it forward more. It's just a way to mark your rows. All right. Now we're going to continue this for up to 7 rows. So we've got 4 rows on here, so we need to do 3 more rows with 10 each. And you can kind of stretch it out and stick your thumb in there, which is what I do to kind of help me. So we're going to do 3 more rows with 10. So here we go. Now I'm stitching this just a little bit loose because I want you to be able to see my stitches, but it's a good idea to pull them nice and snug, because when we stuff it, you don't want to be able to see the polyester fiber fill coming through the holes. Now another thing that a friend of mine does is she saves her yarn scraps, and when she makes a small project like this that she's going to stuff, she just uses her yarn scraps to fill it up. And that's fine because you could kind of match, you know, similar colors so that the stuffing doesn't show through. That's a, you know, a really great idea. Alrighty, getting around here. Alright, almost back around. Now something that I do, because basically we're stitching on the back side out, and I like the, I mean, it's not wrong or right, I just like the other side. So when I get to my 7th row, I just flip this over, just like that. I don't want to pull that one out. I want to pull this one out of the way. Is this top one's marking my, let's see, there it is. Top one's marking my rows. I actually, let's see, let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to do 2 more rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Let's get back around here. I think it makes it a little easier because you can kind of flatten it. All right, now I need to do one more row because that's only 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get some more yarn here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're at our 7th row. I'm going to go ahead and pull this green yarn over because that's my stitch marker row. And what I do at this point, I pull that string up that we started with, stuff it in there, and then I take a little piece of the fiber fill and I go ahead and I stuff the hat portion. And just to me, it just makes it a little bit easier to work this instead of trying to stuff the whole thing at the end. I think it works better to do it as we go. So we've done the hat portion, and I like to stuff this nice and tight. So if you want it not, not quite so tight, it helps it hold its shape better. All right, now at this point we're going to change colors. So I'm going to cut the red yarn because we're done, and I'm going to set that red yarn aside, and I'm going to grab the brown yarn. So let's move my scissors out of the way. We're going to put our yarn back in our red, our hook back in our red, and we're going to go in our next stitch just like this. We're going to wrap our brown yarn on. We're going to pull that through and make our stitch. That's how you change colors. And now you can see it works a little bit easier because you have something to hold on to since we stuffed it. And we're going to continue putting 10 stitches per row with the brown. And you can do as many rows as you want to. Let me check my pattern, see how many rows we're going to do with the brown. All right, so we did 7 rows of red for the hat portion. And then we're going to do 21, because this will be row 8, where we changed colors. And then row 9 through 21, we're going to be just stitching 10 stitches of single crochet per row through row 21. Now I have one I've already done, so you don't have to sit there and watch me single crochet forever. And this one is ready. This is what it looks like. We've done our 7 rows of red and then up through 21 of the brown. And what I do is after I do a couple of rows, I stuff more. And then I do a few more rows and I stuff more. And I do a few more rows and I stuff more. Now we're going to do our decrease rows at the end. Let me move that stitch marker out of the way. All right, so after we get the length we want, now if you want yours to be longer, if you're making them bigger, do as many rows as you want before you start your decrease rows. Okay, now to decrease for the next stitch, we're going to just put 1 single crochet, just like that. And then to decrease, we're going to stitch the next 2 single crochets together. So we're going to go in the next stitch, pull up a loop on our hook, and go in the next stitch, pull up a loop on our hook, yarn over, and go through both stitches. And we're going to do this all the way around. 1 single crochet in the next, and stitch the next 2 together. So there's 1, 2, and through both. 1 single crochet in the next. Whoops. It keeps jumping off my hook. There we go. 1 single. Alrighty, 1 single crochet in the next. And then 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets together, and close that off. And you'll end up with only 5 single crochets at the end, because we did 10 and we decreased by 5. We'll do 1 more. And then the last row, you're going to single crochet them all together. So you're going to do 2 single crochets together, 2 single crochets together, and 2 single crochet. And it does get a little tight in there, so, and that's how you get the point on the end of it. We're going to go ahead and clip that, tie that off, and then use your needle. And the way I weave this in is I sort of just make a couple of loops here, since the color's dark and it won't be able to be seen too much, just like that. And then I just take it and I go in and I go up through some of that stuffing and just pull it out like that. Whoops, clip that on, and now you've got the shape. Now we have to put all the decoration on it because it really just looks like a pill. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is work with our fuzzy yarn. Okay, so we need to make a little pom-pom for the top. So we're just going to wrap it around our fingers like this. Just like that. And then take another little piece and just tie that around. Nice and tight, but not too tight because this yarn can bust on you. And then I just take both pieces, push them. This yarn needle isn't as big. Let me check my other one. Okay, well, we'll just do one at a time since this yarn needle's a, let me try this other one. See if this hole's a little bigger. Because this yarn's just a little bit tricky. There we go. Got it through. I usually use a bigger needle and do both of them, but really all you're going to do is on the end, you're going to shove the needle through that way. Just like that. And I just, usually I pull them both through, but one will work too, as you can see. However, to get it to stay on, I just tie a couple of knots because this is decoration. And then I'll clip those 2 strings. There we go. And that's how you do the pom-pom on the top. I wanted it to be a little crazy, so it's not a perfect little round pom-pom. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do, let's use that one with the bigger eye in it. I think it was this one. Is we're going to do the trim on the hat. So we're going to put our needle through. And right on this edge, we're just going to make some loose stitches. Now, I'd go around and try to find where I started. And I just go through like that. And I leave a little bit like this just hanging there. And then I go back like this. And I leave it a little bit loose, you know, not too tight because you want it to look like fuzz around Santa's hat. And I usually go through 2 stitches. I'll go through those 2, and then I'll go back through like that. And you can see I pulled it a little tight, so you just pull it back. But this yarn is a little tricky, and the most important thing in this part of this is you want it to look fluffy and make it look like Santa's hat. Okay, that kind of got tangled. I'm just going to twist it and just go back through. There we go. See, now it's all fluffy. All right, roll it back around. We're going to go right in here. It's nice and fluffy. And I just keep going until I've used all my yarn. And that piece there, you just kind of work it in through the loops. That was when we started with. Because remember, this is a decoration. It's not really going to go through the laundry. You know, there we go. And I just keep going through the edge there. There we go. Get towards the end of that so we can use that up. And yeah, you just keep going until your yarn is gone and you're happy with how fluffy it is. And then you just work in that last piece. And there's his hat. All right. Now the next thing that we're going to do is put on the face. And you're going to need, I don't think I told you at the beginning, but you're going to need just a piece of white regular yarn. This is a sparkle yarn that I have on hand that I just cut a piece off to do the face. You can do French knots or you can do straight stitches. I kind of like to just go and do straight stitches. I do like this. I put a stitch in. I leave this out because I'm going to work that in a little bit. And I just go like this. Now if you want to do a French knot, you can. And I just do 2 stitches. And then I kind of gauge over about 3 stitches. And do another eye. Now you can make these silly or you can make them normal, however you want your project to look, basically. And then I just work that through the back. And then this one here, I usually work it through the back like that. And then I didn't leave myself a long enough string. I was going to try to do it a different way. All right. There we go. Put it on there and just go right through the back. Pull those nice and snug. And then I just clip them. Just like that. So now your little man, your little poo man has eyes. The other thing we're going to do next is put on his smile. So we're going to need another piece of yarn. We're going to be using the red sparkle for the smile. Let's put that needle out of the way so we don't have needles laying around here. And how we're going to do that is the same way. I'm going to leave myself a little more to work with on there. What I usually do is I do the center of the smile first so I can center it. So I'll do a little line like that, leave that out a little bit so I've got something to work with. So there's the line, and then I'll go back in and make the sides. That way I can center the smile a little bit better. And then I'll just go back up like that. And again, I just push it to the back of my little poo man. Poo Santa, I don't know. And there's your smile. We're going to turn it over, clip off those strings. Okay. Now, the last part that we're going to do is, oh, we forgot to tie his head on. In order to make a head, we just take the yarn, wrap it around like that, and then tie it nice and tight, and I always tie a knot. Snug it up, tie a knot, and tie a bow. And sometimes I'll tie 2. You can use double thickness, and this bow, of course, is however big you want it to be. I'm going to cut off those long edges. There's the bow. And then the last part is just to put the tie on the top. And all I do is I thread a piece of needle, I put a piece of thread on a needle that matches the green sparkle, and I just go right through the hat like that, the center. There we go. I pull those out. There we go. And I usually tie 2 knots. And then tie that off. And if you don't want to use a tie to hang it on your tree, you can always just put a hanger from a regular hanger from a Christmas tree. You know, the little metal hangers or whatever. So that is our Christmas dog poo Christmas ornament. I think they're hilarious, and I think they're fun. They're great gag gifts to give to a friend that has a little dog especially, or maybe someone who works at a dog rescue, or just someone who loves puppies and dogs who knows what it's like to pick up a lot of dog poo in the yard. So there's our dog poo. Please make some of these and share them with your friends because they're so much fun. And Merry Christmas in July.